So we'll talk, we talked about the Bulls a little bit. Let's transition to um, the Sox and the Cubs. So Carlos Correa signed a 13 $360 million deal, um, not in a Cubs uniform. And I know Cubs fans are pretty pissed off about that because Tom Ricketts was saying, hey, Jed, here's the checkbook, spend whatever you need to spend. Shortstop was a really big need for them. They didn't go out and get Carlos Correa like a lot of people wanted them to. They did sign Cody Bellinger. The White Sox are still standing pat, not doing anything.
Yeah, I think I
Um,
think I think they're going to be trading.
I think so too. I think Lucas Giolito's gone. I think Liam Hendricks is gone. Um, I I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna say that the White Sox regress horribly this year. Um, and it's not like it pains me to say this as a Sox fan because they completely shit the bed this past year. They went under what they should. They underaccomplished completely. I don't see this team winning more than 85 games next year,
Probably not.
especially if it stays the same.
If
And
everybody's back at full health, we should be scoring runs.
yeah, but that Mike Clevenger signing, that doesn't do anything for us. I got to see how Garrett Crochet comes back from his Tommy John surgery. I want to see Michael Kopech back healthy. I
Lynn should
want
be
to,
back better.
huh?
The Lynn should be back better this year
Yeah,
too.
I want to see Lance Lynn coming back. I want to make sure that this wasn't a flash in the pan from Dylan Cease. I mean, Dylan Cease has always kind of had that little bit of a swag to him, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
now there's talks about bringing back Carlos Rodon. And if they bring back Carlos Rodon, my whole thing is why the fuck did you let him leave in the first place? If you re-sign him now, why would you have let him leave, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, or whatever it was when the Giants, went ahead and signed him when you could have had him on your pitching staff this whole time. You like, yeah, you didn't even trade him. You know what I'm saying? Like he had a good season for you. He had a really good season for
yeah,
you,
that was
and
his
you let
best
him,
season.
and then you
Yeah,
and
and then
then
they
you
let
let him walk out the door. You know what I'm saying? Like I know people were kind of worried about maybe he's a Jose Quintana type. Maybe he had 1 or 2 good years on a contract year, and he was going to regress. But I think we all kind of saw us baseball fans when we looked at Carlos Rodon and how he pitched. His command was really good. He didn't pitch a lot of innings. He didn't put a lot of stress on his elbow or his shoulder. Even on the defense, he was more of a ground ball. He pitched to contact, a lot of ground
yeah,
balls. So I don't understand why you don't pull the trigger and just sign him then. I know, and he didn't even command a ton of money. I think it was like 15 mil a season the Giants were paying him. Now you're going to have to pay him over 20 to bring him back. So, if they do that, I'll be happy because then your lineup, you know what I'm saying? Your starting rotation, you have Dylan Cease, Carlos Rodon, Lance Lynn, Michael Kopech, Mike Clevenger, and then you'll have Garrett Crochet coming out of the bullpen. Um, I think Crochet is going to be a starter at some point. He's just a young kid, big
yeah,
arm, big arm. Let's just see how he recovers from that Tommy John. But they still need that left-handed bat. They need that, left-handed corner outfielder bat. And I'm not seeing any progress being made. The Cubs are doing more with what they have. Cody Bellinger is a great signing for them. I think Cody Bellinger,
is he lefty?
yeah, Cody, he's a former MVP. He's a former
Yeah,
rookie of the year. He's only been in the league 6 years. I think it's, he just needed a change of scenery.
yeah,
And he's got playoff and World Series experience. That's a big name player for the Cubs. So congratulations to all you Cubs fans out there. I'm personally not a Cubs fan. I fucking hate the Cubs. But you guys have a bright future ahead of you. Nico Horner, the second baseman, he's
yeah,
got a bright future ahead of him as well. Um, the team, I mean, the Cubs got some good young talent if they can, go out and start making some moves, bring in some veteran presence, and possibly make a run. They're not going to catch the Cardinals this year. I don't even think they'll be as good as Milwaukee. I think Cubs probably finish third. I think they'll finish ahead of the Reds. Um, I think the Sox have a lot of work to do. Carlos Correa being out of Minnesota is huge for us, so thank you
yeah.
for that. Um, I think best case scenario they finish second because I think Cleveland's going to run away with that division again next year. They're the youngest team in the majors, and they finished with the second best record in the American League last year. Um, so it's a tough road for the Sox. It really is. It's gonna be a
Yeah,
really tough
we've
road.
been really quiet. There's really nobody else to go and get now anymore. So
No, and it's unfortunate. you know, but it is what it is. Chicago Sox and Cubs both. You're a top three market, and you know, made in the majors. And I know we talked about this, you know, a couple weeks ago, but with profit sharing and stuff like that, you can't sit there and tell me that you know, you're losing money. You're not. Tom Ricketts and Jerry Reinsdorf, you're not losing money.
I mean, if
Open
the
your
Sox are
fucking
good, people go to the game. So,
open
and
your
it's cheap.
fucking checkbooks and start spending some fucking money. If you expect me to go out there and pay, you know, $40 for a ticket, $18 for a fucking hot dog, you know, $13 on a fucking beer, I want to see a good product on the field. I'm not getting that. So as a fan, that's kind of shitty on me because I know you got the fucking money to go out there and spend and put a better product on the field. You're not
I
doing that.
don't. This year, I don't know if the pass is the word. I mean, they could have done other stuff, but like everybody got hurt. Same with last year, the year before that as well. Tim Anderson,
Yeah, but
Luis
they're not
Roberts.
making the moves to make it better. You can't sit there and be like, well, if we're healthy, if we're healthy, if we're healthy, if we're healthy. That's the oldest excuse in the book. You're like, hey,
Well,
let's
I
run
mean,
it
you
back
just
because we're
can't make
healthy.
moves. Like, who are you going to trade when everybody's hurt? Like the guys you're
Fuck
going to
it, who
trade.
cares? I'd be okay right now. I love Tim Anderson.
I think Tim
Love,
Anderson is going to get traded.
love Tim Anderson. But he's gonna bring back the most in return in terms of a trade that's a non-pitcher.
Yeah.
Um, so if you trade Tim Anderson and you get something in return, you know, at least a decent haul, I'm okay with that because he's not a game changer. He's a good leadoff hitter, but he's not a game. He's not a feared hitter. He hits for average. He hits over 300. He hits about 15, 20 dingers a year, and that's awesome. That's great. But he's not a game-breaking, game-changing offensive
He's
player.
not super solid at shortstop either anymore.
No, defensively, he's not. So if you move on from Tim Anderson, you move on from Tim Anderson. I'm okay with that. But get something in return for him. Don't just,
Yeah,
you know, oh,
I
here's
think
Tim
he is going to be
Anderson
gone.
for, you know, a fucking your 52nd prospect and, you know, a second round pick in the Rule 5 draft. Like
No, I don't think it'll be
it's not
that.
gonna do anything. I don't know. It's frustrating. It's frustrating as a Sox fan because um for me personally, it's Bears, Bulls, Sox. I kind of interchange Sox and Bulls a little bit in terms of two and you know 2A and 2B. Um, but it's frustrating as a Sox fan because we were told specifically, hey, this team's going to be great. We're going to compete. We hired a fucking dinosaur as our manager who's been retired for 15 fucking years. We knew that was a mistake. Anybody who sat there and was like, oh, yeah, this is a great hire, you're a fucking idiot. Plain and simple. Like, I'm sorry. I don't mean to call you out like that. I'm not sorry. You are a fucking idiot if you thought Tony La Russa was going to be a good hire for the White Sox. Um, we'll see what Pedro Fall has to offer. I don't know much about him. My only concern is you had a managerial opening in Kansas City, where you brought in a new manager you didn't promote from within, and he was already on the staff. So why wasn't he given that job? Why wasn't he promoted
I mean, they want
internally
to
since it's the Royals?